It's a Saturday morning or afternoon, depending on which time zone you're quarantined in.
Okay, peeling the butternut squash.
Never had a butternut squash. She may be struggling with this if her knife is not sharp.
Labor intensive. Reid Branson is in Seattle. Crescent Dragonwagon is in the Ozarks. And I'm in Brooklyn.
Not so crazy after all.
The gang's all here. This is what we got. These are our ingredients.
We've all got the same ingredients. Lentils, butternut squash, potatoes, basil, a jalapeno. Do we keep the seeds or will it make the soup too hot?
So what I did some a little bit of prep here. So I've got, this is butternut squash and potatoes and some celery that I've already cut.
Okay.
Reid has been eating this exact same lunch for 17 years, so we had to make it.
Well, of course, only work days. On weekends, I do take a break. What happened was that I was eating a canned soup that I kind of liked. Then they changed the recipe of the lentil soup that this one company made, and I didn't like their new recipe. And so I looked specifically for a lentil soup, and I found this Greek lentil soup with lemon and decided to make it. And I liked it so much that I made it again the next time, and then I made it the next time, and it just got to the point where it was my go-to soup, and I just make it every single week. And I did the math not too long ago, and that adds up to somewhere between 400 and 500 batches of this soup that I've made.
Crescent is shaking her head. She's like, I made the recipe. I didn't even make it 400 times. I didn't make it 4 times.
Got some nice fresh ingredients there.
The original plan was for all of us to do it in person. COVID-19 interrupted that.
So how do you not get tired of the same thing over and over?
Well, I think part of it is that I'm a creature of habit, but another part of it is that one of the great things about making this sort of recipe over and over again, an excellent recipe like this, is that the flavors are always just a little bit different. Everything tastes a little bit different.
There's my cute squash.
The squash is a little bit different. The onion, the potatoes, even the celery, everything has a slightly different taste than it did before. I also use dried peppers in my version of the recipe, and sometimes they're a little hotter than others. Sometimes I put in 4 instead of 3 just to be a daring kind of guy.
So there they are, and now we're gonna start chopping them up.
Reid's nursing career calls for placing the needs of those in his community before his own. That hasn't changed as the novel coronavirus pandemic unfolded.
I think that in a helping profession, one of the reasons why we got into it to begin with was because we wanted to be helpful to people. Mm-hmm. And so when we're called upon to do that, then it actually feels like fulfillment. And it can be draining, but at the same time, it's invigorating. And so I think, at least for me, I was an ICU nurse for 10 years, and then I became a clinic nurse. And always it has been both at the same time, that it's been draining and invigorating at the same time, because that's what we're there for.
Basically, this is you can control this. This is the one reliable thing, and everything is so unpredictable. But this thing you can always come back to, right?
That's exactly right. And in tumultuous times, which frankly, even before the coronavirus, I work in a county hospital, a safety net hospital. And so the situations that we run into can be unpredictable. And so, yeah, having things that are predictable, not just my soup, but I have my coffee that I drink and all sorts of other things, they kind of anchor me in a way that it makes it easier to cope with the unpredictableness of the work that I do.
And like clockwork, he makes this large pot of soup every 2 weeks.
Reid, I want to ask you a question. Does your wife get tired of the smell? Is she like, oh God, here he goes again with this soup? Or is she just like, all right, I'll allow it?
No, she loves the smell. She does not eat it nearly as often as I do. When I have leftovers, she'll have a bowl, but generally speaking, she's pretty tolerant. We've been married for 40 years, so.
Oh, well.
So yeah, she's learned to put up with my idiosyncrasies.
As far as I'm concerned, you can't really have too much onion.
And where did the recipe for Reid's soup come from? About 10 years after Reid got married in 1992, author Crescent Dragonwagon jotted her Greek lentil soup recipe in her now out-of-print Dairy Hollow House Soup and Bread cookbook. At some point, Reid decided to write to her.
Well, I get this charming email from this goofball guy. I didn't know where he was or what he did or anything, but he told me that he had made my soup, one soup, out of a book that had been out of print. And it made my day. It made my several days. Every time I thought about it, I just laughed. And I thought also how you never know how your life touches other people.
Another pleasure of making the soup repeatedly is that I don't really have to think about it anymore. I can just get into the rhythm of making the soup, which I find delightful.
So I've mentioned before what a nice rhythm this soup has, and as you're cooking one thing, I'm adding the potatoes into the soup now. As you're cooking one thing, the next thing is being prepared, and so that's just one of the things I really love about this soup. The timer just went off for me to put the potatoes and the spinach in.
This has also all amplified how connected we all really are, and that has never been more clear, certainly in my lifetime, right, than now. It's just the way it is. We all literally need each other. And so, with that said, we are going to make a delightful soup. I do cook and I do bake. Soup isn't one of them. So,
we're gonna convert you today, Stephanie.
I promise. I know what I'm doing. I can cook. I'm no slouch when it comes to the kitchen. Trust me.
With that first main ingredient, besides the fact that you can substitute safely and easily, the first direction on almost any dried bean recipe will say rinse and pick over. And pick over means that you look in you hear this little, you look to see if there's any, sometimes there might be little balls of mud because of the way that beans are processed, but you would see them very clearly. Sometimes there might be a little strand of, little bit of hay in it.
I'm one of those eyeballers, because
Right.
you make certain things over and over. Like I can eyeball an omelet and the ingredients, or the curry chicken, or macaroni and cheese. I never measure anything. So a quart is what?
4 cups.
Four
It is
cups.
4 cups. Along with the lentils and the stock, we're going to add the things that are going to give it flavor over time. And I'm going to hold up this little semi-artistic thing that I did here. You can do a fresh jalapeno chopped up, or a dried, usually, and here again, I call for a poblano chili. What did I have? I had an ancho. They're so similar. So in it goes. Looks like a dried ear, but it is not a candy.
So does mine.
And the 2 teaspoons of whole coriander seeds.
Well, yeah, the coriander seeds are kind of unique in a recipe like this, but they're really nice because they provide a little bit of extra crunch. And some people don't like the flavor when you bite down on coriander seed, but I happen to love it.
2 teaspoons and 1.5 teaspoons of whole cumin seeds.
2 teaspoons.
And here I'm holding.
I've already added mine. So.
I know Reid's like, you know what? The soup's already done. I'm just waiting for you guys to catch up.
At this point, you should have lentils, stock or water, your chili, some coriander seeds, 2 teaspoons, 1.5 teaspoons of cumin, teaspoon of oregano, teaspoon of dried basil, unless you're using fresh basil like me.
I only could find the dried basil, surprisingly enough. So many things were sold out, and it's good, but then it's bad, so to speak. It's like a good sign. Okay, people are able to at least buy some fresh ingredients still. Then it's like, well, is there enough for everyone? But at least with this is also, I do want to say, a pretty cost-friendly soup, and it's going to make batches that last for 2 weeks. So if you're like me and by yourself, this will last for 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
If you've got a family, this will sustain this family. Maybe a family of 4 for a couple days, right?
And if you have it with a good bread and salad, that's dinner. But you can have a little cup of it and then start a meal that is, pasta. Our lentils and stock and spices have come to a nice hard boil. And now We are going to turn the heat way down.
Oh, I gotta stir it up. That is really starting to smell so good.
1 hour later.
We reconvened to saute.
I like choosing a red onion. I just thought I'd show you my onion.
Ooh. Oh no, I just dumped mine into the soup. But you know what's funny? I didn't chop it up, and you'll see this later. I did not chop mine so finely because fun fact, also don't like cooked onions that much. So I need to be able to, I love the flavor that they give, but I needed to be able to pull them out so I don't accidentally eat a cooked onion.
See how big these chunks are? Because I cannot stand. Ooh, I hate me a cooked onion.
Stephanie, you are deeply strange. Coming from a guy who's made the same soup for 17 years.
Oh God.
Cooked onions, wow.
Yeah, I know. There's these little, we all have our idiosyncrasies. Now, Reid, how much salt did you think to add?
I use 2 teaspoons. That's how much I put in. I know that some people think that's too much, which is funny because I think I normally don't like very much salt at all in my food, but it for me just is about right.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna do that right now.
I'm behind you guys. I just started my saute a little bit ago.
Well, no, that's about where I am too. In fact, I'm just now.
But yeah, okay. I'm adding my celery. You know, what but this crisis would have had 3 people in 3 different parts of the world somewhat simultaneously cooking a lentil soup.
I know, in 3 different time zones. You know, we've got New York, Arkansas, and Washington State.
I'm retiring June 25th, and so we just counted it up, and there's 4 more baskets.
4 more. How much do you think you spent making this soup?
You know, I've wondered about that too. I think, obviously it's thousands of dollars, but I've probably saved a lot more than that.
Third time.
I can see it here. Yes, we had the simmering soup. I don't think you can come too much, but you guys can see it. There's a simmering soup. This is great.
Yeah, it looks good. You know, mine started to look like that, but mine is way more thick. It's like it's more of a stew, and I don't even know how I managed to accomplish that. You know, at the end, you can add more water, take out more water. But isn't this like the cutest little lemon? It has a stem, which I know
That's very cute.
For most is not a big deal. I'm going to slice a little piece of lemon just to put on top for like
Good. Good.
And you guys have soup, I have stew.
But you know,
it's almost bread at this point.
And it's soup, take a vegetable stock, and it's stew.
Even after all these years, this smells so delicious.
You are loyal. You really are loyal.
So now here is my finished product.
All right, here we go. We're taking it away from the screen of it and
I don't want to spill it on my laptop.
That's my problem too. Here it is.
Oh.
Oopsie daisy, there's my finished pot o' soup, and I will ladle it out.
It's almost time for the moment of truth. I'm trying to wait till this cools just a bit.
Yeah, it's so hot.
Yeah, it's super hot.
Well, I haven't salted mine yet. Of course, you salt at the end because if you add salt at the beginning, it makes the lentils or beans or whatever dried legume you're cooking, not soften. So you add it at the very end.
This is very good.
This is a good soup.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, the lemon.
The lemon really brightens it up. It really just gives it that little kick that you don't anticipate. You know, when you're putting together lentils and squash and potato, the last thing you're thinking about is lemon. But yeah.
Lentils are very brown, and it could be, and it just makes it bright and sparkly, that and the little. So I know you said you didn't like anything but clam chowder. Have we converted you?
You may or may not have a convert. You may or may not.
And I'm not just saying this for the cameras and because Crescent is here. It's really good. I haven't had anything to eat today, and I'm about to get my second bowl because it really is good, but I might just fry some bacon.
Before we go, I cannot let you go because the internets will fry me if I do not ask you, Crescent. You know the question, and I know you don't like it, but we got to do it. How did you get your name?
Okay. Internet can fry me instead. You have to go to, I mean, I can tell you a fake story, which I sometimes do, which is, it's a children's book name like Dr. Seuss, and I am in fact a children's book writer, but that's not the true story. Go to dragonwagon.com, and there's a button that says, is that your real name? And it will tell you the whole story of how I got this ridiculous name in my intrepid youth, which was a long time ago, and yet it goes like that.
I really enjoyed this, so this has been a fun experience.
Me too. This is fun. Thank you guys again. So
Crescent, it's good to see you.
so wonderful.
To both of you, with many, many thanks, and happy souping.
Yes. Happy souping.
For InsideEdition.com, I'm Stephanie Officer.